last speaker. Oh man, I just keep hearing the like Rocky song and that moment where he's like running up the stairs and then doing this thing.
I don't know where this is going.
Elise to watch Rocky like 3, and yesterday there was or maybe that was today. There was the stare down between Rocky Balboa and Mr. T, and then the hand came up onto Mr. T's face. Anyways, I'm gonna introduce our last speaker. Pye Jirsa is a director, photographer, and educator, a founder and partner in SLR Lounge, as also one of the co-founders of Lynn and Jirsa Photography, a boutique Southern California wedding and portrait photography studio composed of a creative team that shoots over 300 weddings each year with nearly 1,000 yearly client commissions. In his presentation today, Pye is going to discuss the WAVE, a process that he and his team developed to better identify clients' wants and needs. WAVE will help you close more clients while also making you a better photographer. Pye, the virtual stage is now yours.
Thank you, Bryce. Thank you so much. I didn't know where that intro was going, but I liked it. Anything Rocky I like, but I was disappointed that you didn't compare me to him or something like that, But it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, guys. So you should start seeing my screen now, and you should see how to close up here. Bryce, you seeing everything?
Yeah, it's looking great.
All right, cool.
And also, for the record, you're better than Rocky. You could beat him in a fight for sure.
Let's not. Let's just be honest with each other, okay? So look, guys, we have 20 minutes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you a link at the end of this where you can actually follow the link and watch the full lecture in full for completely free. This is actually part of an 8-hour plus masterclass on sales for photographers. So I want you guys to have something solid to walk away with. I just don't want you to be so kind of worried about taking notes right now. You'll have everything. So we'll make that all completely free and available to everybody. So WIIFM. This comes from one of my favorite podcasters and writers, Jim Quick. He talks about the what's in it for me. So let me just give you a quick idea of what's in this presentation for you. For our studio, we shoot about 350 weddings a year, about 1,000 total client commissions. And what we've realized over time is that literally almost every single bad outcome, 99% of the time, it comes down to us lacking an understanding of what your clients truly value. It comes down to just not knowing what they were looking for in the first place when they hired you. So we developed a process, and it's that process that we're going to give to you. We're going to show you on this little conference. So what we have to do in our studios, we have to take everything that we do and we have to design it into a process where others can emulate and get to the same results. So that's kind of what I am, is a process person. I'm a systems person. So the question is, though, what do your clients truly want, need, and value? How do we get to this place? And what you're going to get from this presentation is several things. You're going to get to a place where you actually know the photographs that you need to capture before ever picking up your camera. You're going to become a better photographer. You're going to close more sales. You're going to do all of it. So how to close is more than just simply, how to close a sale and how to take money. It's about making sure that you provide the value in that service by knowing what they truly need, what they truly want, and giving them more value than what they are essentially giving back to you. So the end result for you guys is incredibly happy clients, and well, you'll be better photographers. So this is the issue that we run into a lot. This is the sales process, and we always run into clients having an issue with price. They want to bargain, they want to do all that kind of stuff. They don't understand why we're more expensive, why we're this. They always are going to have an issue of price whenever we present the price point before we've properly developed our value proposition. We need to develop a value proposition. We need to present that solution. And then step number 4 is to close. This is when we should be presenting price. But we run into mistakes. We run into just this desire to bargain and not understanding our value when we present that prior to this process. What we're going to be focusing on right now is this step number 1. So again, we're going to kind of reduce everything else from this entire masterclass, and we're just going to focus on this identifying the problem need, because that is the core of this. So real quick, what I want each of you to stop doing, and by the way, we have the comments in chat, I believe, open, Bryce, right? So if they have questions, they can post, and we'll get those at the end of this.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect. So I want you all to stop feature selling in any of your meetings. And this means when you begin your meetings, I don't want you to say things like, let me tell you how we are awesome. Let me tell you why we are, so perfect of a fit for you. Let me tell you how we light. Let me tell you how we shoot. All of those things are these nuanced features that honestly, unless they're a photographer, they probably just aren't going to care about. I don't want you to ask things like, tell me about your wedding timeline. I don't want you to say things like, which package do you like the most? And the reason is actually pricing psychology. In the full slides that you can download after this, I believe it'll go into that. But essentially what we want to avoid is we want to avoid this this place of higher reasoning, the brain center that's focused on calculating and analysis, because anytime we push them into that area, which questions like timeline, questions like which package you like most, automatically pushes them away from the emotional centers, the limbic system, and it pushes them into this higher reasoning place of the brain. So we want to avoid that. We want to focus on the emotional side, focus on the pieces that really relate to photography. Plus, when you say things like, what are you looking for in your photos? These types of questions are just like, Bryce, we're going to walk through an example in a second. And right now, if I just said, hey, look, let's say you and your, did you say fiance, girlfriend, fiance, wife?
Girlfriend. Let's say you and your girlfriend come to us for photographs, and the first question I ask you is, what are you looking for in your photos? How would you answer that? What are we we're looking for photos that truly capture the moment.
Okay. I don't know as a photographer how that necessarily helps me, right? Because it's such a generic statement that and you're phrasing it better than most people would. Most people would say something even more loose-ended than that. But as a photographer, you have to ask yourself, did that information actually help? And I would probably say that didn't get us closer to knowing what you value, other than you saying moment. So instead, I want you to ask questions. I want everybody that's watching to ask questions like, if you're getting to know them, you ask things like, tell me how you fell in love. You want to pull stories out of them, get them to that emotional thought center before we start asking analytical questions, because that'll pull them away from it. We want to ask things like, what's your favorite thing to do for fun with your children? That is if you're doing a family portrait session. Don't ask this if you don't know they have children. That'd be kind of weird. Okay, so why does this matter? Because before I pick up my camera, I really need to know what this person is looking for. And so this is where we have the wave. We call it the wall art vision exercise. And the reason why we get to this place is for determining what the clients actually value. And previously, we used to use things like this to try and figure this out. Now, years back, we would use mood boards. We still use them today, but we use them for a different purpose. But in the past, we used to use these mood boards to try and figure out what someone values. But get this, Bryce, of all the images that you're actually posting to Instagram, of the ones that you might pin on a mood board, how many of those images would you actually print out?
Maybe like 1 in 100.
Okay, so is it fair to say then that 99% of what you're posting is things that resonate with you, but not stuff that you would value enough to actually put on your wall?
100%.
Okay, so that's exactly what we noticed a mood board was for our clients. It was things that stylistically resonated, but not necessarily anything that they would print onto their wall. Like this piece of jewelry and a flower and shots of a sofa. Like nobody's going to actually put those things onto their wall. And of course, we're going to shoot them as photographers because we want to capture the details and do all that kind of stuff. But we need to know what it is they're actually looking for. So by the way, I started my timer just a little bit late, guys. So can you give me an update on how much time we have?
You're the last speaker. You can go as long as you want. I personally don't want this to end anymore.
Okay. So this is that place that we're at, right? So mood board equals style. And I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just saying don't use this as a guide to what your clients actually value. Okay, so the wave is actually value. And earlier we asked, what are you looking for in your photographs, right, Bryce? And it was a hard question to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now I'm going to do this process a little bit different. I'm actually going to put you into the limbic system. I'm going to put you in the emotional thought center of your mind. And what I want everybody else to do at home as you're watching this is to close your eyes if you have to, but I want you to follow through the same process for yourself. And if you are a wedding photographer, I want you to think let's say, for example, you're getting married or you're going to do a vow renewal. If you are doing family photography, imagine that. If you are a maternity, newborn, whatever it is, I want you to put yourself in that scenario because it applies across the board. The wall art vision exercise begins with imagine your home. Okay, I'm going to paraphrase this for just a second. Imagine your home. We're going to pick a location. I'm going to establish, knowing the cost, understanding you're going to see something daily, what single image. So this is the basic 5-step process. Now I'm going to go into this 5-step process with you as our example, Bryce, okay?
Okay.
But the reason why we use wall art, can you guess, Bryce, why we would use this, why we use wall art as the sample point?
Well, if something's going up on my wall, it's because we really, really love it and want it to be there for years.
100%. So you could just as likely call this a wall art vision exercise. You can just as likely call it an album vision exercise. It doesn't matter. But the other point onto what you just said is spot on. The other piece is, what is the freaking end result of a photograph? We take photographs to print them. We don't take photographs to stick them on your phone. You don't take photographs to put them onto a hard drive and bury them forever. You don't take photographs just to show them off for a few seconds on social media. You capture these images because we want to relive those memories, and the way that you relive them is through print. So what I want you guys to understand is this is a sales process that's actually adapted from sales psychology and transferred over to the world of photography, but you can take it and put it into any genre or anything that you want. You simply look at the end purpose of something. If we were selling a car, I wouldn't say, what car do you want? I wouldn't say, what's your budget? I would ask you, what do you want to use this car for, and how do you want it to make you feel? You know what I mean? Like, do you want to, like we need to get to the point where they have, okay, well, I drive to work every single day and I just want to be wrapped in luxury. I don't want to hear outside sounds. I don't want to hear anything. I just want to be comfortable because I have to spend 2 hours in my car on a daily basis. Immediately, Bryce, when you hear that, do you start thinking of certain cars that would fit that criteria?
Yeah, I know what type of car I would want.
Yeah, what do you want?
Before I moved to Montreal, I had this beaten down Crown Vic, which was an old police car, and it was the coolest.
That's your wrapped in luxury and comfort vehicle?
Yeah, and style and grace.
Those Crown Vics, dude, are super comfortable, actually.
Right? And they can tear it up.
Yeah, they have. Okay. So the point is, if you ask somebody what's your budget for a car or what kind of car you're looking for, a lot of people aren't going to know. And a lot of people, when it comes to budget, if you say, I've actually had our photographers ask questions like, what's your budget for photography? And I'm like, if I'm on the other side of that question, I'm going to say zero. I'm going to say, if I can spend nothing to get the photographs that I want, that's exactly what I want to spend. Because it's kind of a crazy question, right? Like, what do you want to spend? Well, nothing. I don't want to spend anything, but I do want to get a product. So it's irrelevant to where we want to go. So what we're doing right now is we chose an exercise that is the end purpose of the product that we're selling. We're taking photographs. The end purpose of a photograph is not Instagram, it's not Facebook, it's print. So let's do that exercise. So that's why we do why wall art. Okay, so here we go. This is the psychological process. You're going to see in red text the psychological process of what's about to happen. So, Bryce, I'm going to say, imagine that we're just on a phone call, okay? And all of you said to me is that we want to do an engagement photo session. Okay. What's a location that you might have said, like, oh, we're thinking about an engagement portrait session at some location? What location would you maybe throw out?
Down along the canal of Montreal.
Okay, the Montreal Canal. Okay. So, Bryce, this is going to be a weird question, but I know we just started talking right now. What I want you to do is bear with me for just a moment. Can you do that?
100%.
Okay. So I want you to imagine your home. Imagine a place in your home where you might hang a piece of wall art, a piece of, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be an artwork. It could be a framed picture, whatever that might be. What location would you put this piece of artwork?
It would go in our living room across from our couch.
Perfect. So living room across from the couch. Great. So the purpose of this first question and the statement that I just made is a disruptor. What this is we're all in our daily lives just kind of running around doing things. I want to start with something that's odd. It's weird. And I'm going to point out that it's odd and it's weird because I want to disrupt your typical thought process of how you would have been approaching hiring a photographer, which would be to think of price, right? So I need to disrupt that and put you in a different mental state. So we've done that. You have living room across from the sofa, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, back in the zone. So think of a place where you might hang it. So this is holding you now in the limbic system, okay? You've defined the location. We say what place you're thinking. We're continuing the visualization. Okay, so now I'm going to do a little guesstimation. I'm going to say, all right, Bryce, so across from the living room, if it's a wall that's kind of around sofa size, I mean, we're thinking like what? Like maybe 5 feet in size? It doesn't need to be exact. Is that about right?
No, that wall goes on forever.
Forever. Okay. Well, let's use 5 feet as our width because we're probably not going to frame something
perfect.
bigger
Yeah,
than that. Okay.
Yeah, 5 feet sounds appropriate.
Okay. So we're going to continue through. So now I have a couple questions, but first I want you to understand this. Wall art, like what you would see, and I say what you see here if they're in the studio, right? But wall art that would fit, let's say, a 5-foot space, it might cost between $2,000 or $3,000. Okay. Now, the price point honestly is not important because you could choose to print it on your own. You could choose to do it through our studio. If you did it through our studio, it would be that price. But if you did it on your own, you're going to spend your own time to prepare it and to make all the decisions and do everything. So what I'm getting at is that it's an investment. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
So what this just did was establish a price anchor or an expectation. So we have basically put a piece of value, a dollar value to this where they can relate to it, right? So it's going to do two things for us. It sets the price anchor of whatever it is that we put up there has to be important. And it also sets the expectation that if they come to us in the studio in the future, they now have a price anchor or an expectation of what those prices might be in the future. So this kind of preps you. For those that do run an IPS model, this preps you for that model. For those that don't, that's totally fine too. It doesn't matter. This is an exercise. So that's why we say price isn't important. It's important to know that this is an investment. So again, we build significance. So Bryce, if you're going to hang something up in that space, it needs to be something that you love, right?
Yes.
Okay, you're going to see it every single day. You're either going to spend the money or spend the time to go out and print it. You're putting this thing up on your wall. It needs to be something that you love and appreciate. Now, here's the thing. From your engagement shoot, I'm going to limit you down to one single image, one photograph. So we're here at the canal. What one single photograph from that shoot would you value enough? Okay, so now we've established a limitation here. We go on, knowing that. What one single image would you choose from your photo experience, whatever that might be, but in this case, it's an engagement shoot, to spend the time or money to print, to hang on your wall, to see every single day? What would that photograph be?
That photograph would be an image that captures the beauty of my partner and the playful dynamic between the two of us.
I love it. And what would you guys be doing in that shot?
We would probably be like riding bikes.
Okay, riding bikes along the canal. Would it be a fun moment? You guys laughing, playing? What would you guys be doing on those bikes? Goofing around?
It would be probably me trying to be playful with her and her, kind of getting a bit of a serious look on her face. But it's all a part of the racket.
I love it. And what would be in the background of that photograph?
In the background of the photograph would be some of the worn down old Montreal industrial buildings that are by the canal.
I love it. Earlier, I asked you, so come out of this experience for just a moment. Bryce, let me ask you, were you actually thinking of that photograph right now?
Yeah.
Could you actually picture it?
I can picture it currently, yes.
Okay. As a photographer, you are a photographer as well, right?
Used to be.
Are you? Used to be, okay. I mean, with just your phone, would you know kind of exactly the shot that you just drew up in your mind?
Yeah.
Okay. So earlier I asked, what are you looking for in your photographs? But I didn't frame a question. I didn't put you in a state into that limbic system. And what you answered was an image that captured the moment. After we got to the end of this little process, you literally spelled out the exact photograph that you wanted. Not only that, but you gave me psychological keywords where I can actually dive into the nuances of what resonates with you. You've said moments like moment, playful, laughter, goofing around, all part of the racket. You gave the location, but then you also spelled out what that location would look like in the background, the rough, worn down, tattered look. You gave me examples of what you'd be doing. It's riding bikes. Now, planning and actually documenting this photo experience, for me, would be incredibly simple. In fact, relating back to you what you just said would become incredibly simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we've gained from this, as you wait and you listen, is I want each person to pick up on the common language that is being thrown out. Those are the pieces that I'm now going to pair it back to you as I say, okay, so just imagine, like, I love that. What we need to do is rent a couple bikes. We're going to go out to this canal in Montreal, and we're going to put you guys against this kind of rustic background. I want you guys just to goof around, to play. I want you guys to have a good time knowing that all these goofy shots in between, they're just part of the moments that you describe. It's the racket, right? It's the fun. These are the images that we're going to capture, these in the moment photographs. Do you feel like I know what you want and what you value?
Yeah, a lot more now than when we first started.
Okay. So we're going to play in deeper using their own words to help them visualize the exact photograph we're going to capture. And then what you're going to do is use what they've just said to do the following. I know, at least from Bryce's perspective, what his wants and needs are. I would say that, Bryce, you probably want each of your images to feel like they're authentic in the moment, to feel like they're candid and not posed. Would that be valid?
That is valid.
Okay, so I've established a wants and needs and an understanding. I also know a location. I know what he's kind of into. He's into these canals in Montreal, the worn down, tattered look of the background and the scenes, and also possibly doing activities. Would it be fair to say that when you and your girlfriend go out and do something, you guys are out in the city, you guys are going and renting bikes, or you have your own bikes, but you guys have a fairly active lifestyle?
Yeah, that pretty much sums up weekend.
Okay. Is this weird to you that, like, I can sit here and draw all these references from just a few simple questions?
No, I like it. It makes it feel like you're some kind of special detective.
Special detective. So we're just using what you're spelling out to get us to that place. And we have to put you in the limbic system to get there. But we've also pre-visualized the shoot. We've also imagined the actual photographs you would print. This photograph, the one that I just described with you guys laughing, riding your bikes, with this Montreal Canal background behind you and this authentic moment of you maybe teasing and joking around with your girlfriend, is that something you would hang on your wall?
Yes.
Okay. So now we get to be the Jedi Master. And I want you guys to make sure, one of the caveats that I make sure that I teach people in this full course is that you understand using these techniques to sell somebody something that they don't want is referred to as manipulation. Sales is the process of understanding what someone wants and values and giving that to them. So don't dirty the process by selling them something impulsively and just trying to get them out the door and take their money. Doing so is going to result in buyer's remorse. It's going to be a whole bunch of bad stuff. So I want you guys to use it responsibly. But what we can now do is I can actually discuss your timeline, your package, your product, your pricing, your shoot. I can discuss everything with the nuances of what you just explained. What if someone tells me that they want family photographs as the most important piece of their wedding day? But what if I notice on the timeline that they only had 15 minutes scheduled for it? I have now gone into a shoot with a timeline that sets me up to fail because I didn't realize what they truly valued. So what you spell out to me is exactly what we're going to place into this product, and we're going to design the package around that. We're going to give you a price for that. And what I'm going to close with is we do the wave prior to each of these different client experiences, right? Once they've been through it once, we're going to give them an abbreviated version. But once it's done, we're going to establish another mental anchor, okay? And I'm going to say, don't you think it's important? So, Bryce, don't you think it's important that I know the exact photograph that you want to hang in the wall of your home behind that sofa?
Yeah, I do think that's important.
Okay. So once you've actually agreed to that, what happens is we've placed an anchor. Now, you have a couple different decisions to make when you're hiring a photographer. One is price point. One is the value of the product and the service that they deliver, right? It's so difficult for a client to be able to tell the difference between photographers. Unless one is great and the other one is horrible, that's easy to tell. But most photographers out there are doing pretty good work, especially if you're charging a good amount of money for it. That's difficult. What's easy for them to differentiate is how you make them feel in the process. That's easy. So what we've done is we've set an anchor, and you have now agreed that it's important that as your photographer, I know what you value. When you start discussing or thinking through price, okay, maybe I'm asking for $2,000 and you only wanted to spend $1,500, or that's what you budgeted. You have the ability to spend $2,000, but you budgeted $1,500. Someone else is offering you a product for that price, but you're kind of like not really certain that they know what you want. I'm offering you something for $2,000, but you know I understand what you value. So you have two differing beliefs. One is how much you want to spend. One is the value of the product. And psychologists would refer to this as cognitive dissonance. Okay? One of these beliefs has to win out. Once they have agreed to the importance of you understanding who they are, what they value, it is very unlikely that unless they're in a pinch money-wise, it's very unlikely that they dismiss that notion and just simply choose the person that's cheaper. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you do this, so the cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort from these two contradictory beliefs. Now, if I do this with one person, there's a 90% chance that they're going to book. If they've agreed with me, if I can establish that I know what they want, what they value, I've helped them to picture it, we've gone through this process, they are 90% likely to book. If I do it with two people, if I have a husband and wife, or a boyfriend and girlfriend, or a fiancés together, whoever it might be, if I do this with two people and they both agree, chances go up to about 99% that they're not going to walk away. Because one person has to go through the mental hoops of undoing all of that and saying, nope, spending a little bit less money is more valuable than them actually knowing what I want. And then they have to convince the other person to do the same thing. Okay? So we get to this process where we've identified the problem, the need. We can now develop a value proposition based on what they want. We can present that solution, and that's my timer.
You can keep going.
And then we close. This is where we close, we present the price, and we make our ask. So after the wave, you present the solution, you make your ask, and then you just shut up. That's it. That make sense?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
That does make sense.
I'd love to go into all because there's always objections. Like, I love sales objections, by the way, but we probably don't have time to discuss them all here. But for those watching, if you guys go to srloungeworkshops.com, free sales tutorial, you guys can pop your email in there, and then we'll send you the full download to this entire thing, so you guys can actually have all the reference files.
That's awesome.
That's it, brother.
Yeah. Wow. That was thank you for bringing me in on that exercise. I almost now want to hire you to take that photograph. We got a few questions, if
Of course.
you're into it.
Should I turn off the screen share now?
Yeah, you can turn off the screen share. So one of the questions is, would you recommend doing service-based it jumped, sorry. Would you recommend doing service-based pricing over time-based pricing?
I guess it depends on what product you're selling. I would say on the wedding side, time has worked well for us on the wedding side, given that we know approximately kind of how long typical days are. It also, the amount of time that you're there also dictates kind of how much work and volume you have in post. So I know a lot of photographers that just prefer to say unlimited when it comes to wedding days, but then you also have to expect to understand that clients are going to take advantage of that. You're going to have some 8-hour weddings, you're going to have some 18-hour weddings. So time works well on that side. I would say when it comes to other types of products, like when we're talking about just portrait sessions, when we're talking about different types of things, it makes more sense to charge for the service and not for the time.
Nice. I like this question. I think you'll have an interesting answer to it.
All right.
I'm curious, how do you go about managing expectations? Because now they have a specific image in mind before the session. Things of the day might go differently. How do you handle the situation if that picture does not happen?
Well, it needs to happen. So look, now that I know what those pictures are, I want you to imagine this. Let's say it's a client that has very specific expectations, but you don't know them. Okay. You're in a world of hurt because you're going to go into that wedding day, into that shoot, whatever that is. And you're just going to be like kind of like a shotgun, hoping that one of these BBs lands on what they actually want and value. Right. So it's a really bad position to be in. So if you know the target, you automatically know where to aim. And if you're decent at your aim, then chances are you're going to hit a bullseye every single time. If not, at least some of those images are going to be far closer. Otherwise, you're literally walking in with a blindfold on. So now, if they've said family photographs, let's use that example. Family photographs, because it's one that is commonly used. And almost always we go to, hey, look on your timeline, you don't even have this scheduled in, okay? So first, once they have established what they want and value, we look to make sure that the day is set up in a way where we can actually achieve the results, right? So they say family. So we look and say, okay, you only had 10 minutes after the ceremony for this. I'd recommend 45 minutes to get through all the family shots and everything that you want and to do it in the way that you want. We need that amount of time. Then they make that adjustment, right? Now, let's say on the day of, it gets changed. Well, on the day of, as you're going through and different things are happening and they're like, man, we really want to go down to the beach and do this. And I'm going to say at that point, look, guys, I'm totally happy to do whatever it is that you'd like. You have mentioned to me, though, how important family photographs are. I feel like it might be a good idea to keep that piece and not take time from that. Let's see if there's other areas of the day that we can take time from to go and do this other piece that you want to do. Does that make sense? So you're going to use the knowledge that you have to simply make adjustments, and you're going to keep reminding and keep using those pieces to communicate with them what they said. This prevents any issues from ever happening. But if you don't know what they value and what these pieces are, you don't have the ability to make those suggestions. So at the end of the day, they just come back to you and they will say things like, we went down to the beach, but when we came back up, we didn't have enough time to do family photos. What happened? And they'll put that on you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that does make sense. Okay, we got time for one last quick question. How long did it take you to become a Jedi Master?
I'm still improving in my Jedi mastery. No, I love learning, guys. Learning is for me is a lifelong passion of mine, and I've been reading. I read about 50 plus books a year, so I aim for one book a week, and I've been doing it for over 15 years. So I get through a lot of material, a lot of stuff, and I try to learn as much as I can and apply it over to the areas that I'm doing. So this sales process, it's been about, to get it down to what it is now, it's about a 10-year process and believe me, I want you guys to, if you have the means, dive into the full course, because what ends up happening is, it's really funny. I'll teach this to people, and the first time that they employ the wave, and it happens with our own photographers all the time, but the first time they use it, it's really bad. Bryce, like if we were on the phone and someone hasn't practiced this is how it would go. Bryce, so you're looking for photography, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want you to picture your home. You got it?
Okay.
Okay. Are you thinking about your home right now?
I'm thinking about my home.
I need you to think about a place in your home. Do you got a place in your home?
Yeah, I'm thinking about a place in my home, I guess.
Okay. In that place, I just want you to imagine we might put a photograph there.
Okay.
Okay. What picture do you want to go there?
A beautiful picture?
So this is literally how I've watched this process unfold with our photographers that are unpracticed. So my thought is, go and rewatch this, replay it, go grab the full free training. If you have the means, grab the entire master class, but practice it. That's the main thing. Regardless, just keep practicing it, because you need to go through this process about 50 to 100 times before you can smoothly walk a client through it and say, this is the goal and the objective. Otherwise, it's going to be a cluster F, and you're like, that totally did not work.
Without a doubt. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I agree with that statement. Always be learning and like 1% better each day, and practice makes perfect. Huh?
100%. 100%.
But yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this and for lending our time and helping to get the workout. That was a great way to close Photographers Unite. So you enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, I look forward to talking to you again.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for having me involved. Everyone, be sure to go and donate, and see you guys later.
Thank you so much. Take it easy. We did it!
That's it, just fade to black.
Holy, yeah, nothing more. Although, there's some things we gotta say. I really just want to thank all the speakers for lending their time. Like, that was insane. That was insane. You were able to assemble, like, did you bribe them? Like, was there like something else? You're like, hey, we're doing this cool thing, and it turns out photographers tend to be like good humans that want to support communities and give back, and they're like, I'm trapped in my house, I have nothing else to do. Yeah, sure, let's do it. But yeah, there was like so much good like information. I was having like a really hard time falling asleep last night because I'd be like dozing off and was like, oh, that's a really good point, and then was like, I need to go to sleep, and was locked on that cycle. For everybody that tuned in, there was over 5,000 photographers had tuned in over the course of the 2 days. For everybody that donated, we've raised more than, holy smokes, $21,000 in Canadian dollars. And yeah, just like, it's been an incredible 2 days. I almost don't want to say goodbye because I know after this I got to go home and start working from home again, and I miss the office so much. Again, shout out to Adrian, who's been wrong, like he calls the wrong person. He's able to stay cool and compose and bring it right down like a cucumber, this guy. Like, if I would want him to pilot my airplane, because if like things were going down, he'd be like, it's gonna be fine, I'm gonna fix it, everything's fine, nobody panic. Marc Andre, for just, I miss you. I miss seeing you and have a coffee with you, and you just are always so good to collaborate with. Like, yeah, you're able to like keep the rhythm up and going, and you really know your craft, and I appreciate it. Victoria, it's always a pleasure seeing you. And yeah, thanks for coming in early and setting up sanitizing stations and making sure the space was safe, so we don't become numbers. Daniel, it's always a pleasure, and it's crazy that this is what has been built out of like a small kind of thing, and it to be a part of a company that is very focused on trying to give back to the community and like make the world a better place in any which way they can. It's really great. To Molly and Elise for rocking the group chats and to be fielding the questions and handling the drama that sometimes happens when you bring a bunch of people together on the internet. I really need to thank my partner Lindsay for staying up late with me and drilling the pronouncing all the names and stuff, because language is a difficulty for me. Got like a learning disability, can't hear the different sounds, so it was that was a lot of fun and nerve-wracking. And yeah, thank you everybody. I don't know. Okay.
Where are you going? Everybody here in the camera. We can't be all in at the same time, but
2 meters, guys, 2 meters.
We were being so safe. Whoever asked us to do that, our lives are now on your hands. Thank you, everybody. I don't know what we're going to do after this, but yeah, we're going to keep going, and we didn't really rehearse this. Goodbye. Thank you.